If you're listening on podcast, be sure to tune in to our YouTube channel for more content. The link is in the description.
Welcome to Wild and Weird Radio, a Wild and Weird West Virginia podcast.
Wild and Weird Con, our annual gathering of cryptid, UFO, and paranormal vendors and researchers. A celebration of all things wild and weird. People come from all across the country to this event to meet other like-minded individuals, swap stories, and go to workshops. This year's workshop was headed up by Jesse and Joe from Hellbent Holler. After a quick safety and equipment briefing in the lecture halls, the group headed into the surrounding woods where the leaders had placed 3 stations for the members to use various pieces of equipment. At the parabolic listening station, attendees began to hear sounds down below. However, all of our visual gear was stationed at the next area further up the trail, but I had our new thermal and wanted to get some pics of maybe a deer or bear for a database. However, when I pointed toward the sound, I picked up more than I imagined, and thanks to a remote screen tether, members of the group got a good look at this target. The weirdness did not stop there, and the following evening would prove just as exciting and eventful. In this episode, we go over the footage in depth and try to unravel the mysteries of the encounter at Wild and Weird Con on this episode of Wild and Weird Radio.
Welcome back to Wild and Weird Radio, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again this week. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, go over and slap that notification bell and hit subscribe because you definitely want to stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on. And this episode is exactly why. We've got some very special content to share with you guys because, as many of you know, we had to skip a week because we had Wild and Weird Con coming up. We were absolutely busy. It was all hands on deck trying to get things done and finalize everything, get everything set up. And Wild and Weird Con is now over. It was a great success. Everybody had a wonderful time. The VIPs especially had a outstanding time.
They had a great
You
time.
never expect these things to happen. But when they do, boy, oh boy, is it something special. So we'll build into that. All right, we'll build into that. So Ron, this weekend is Wild and Weird Con. We just got home.
It was awesome. This has been an exhausting weekend. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people came up to me at the show and they're like, "You look tired." I'm like, "That's because I am." But it has been an amazing show, just from getting there. I mean, what a beautiful weekend it was, Joe.
Yeah. Oh man, we couldn't have asked for better weather. The color on the trees was stupendous. You couldn't get any better than that.
No,
and
no.
the location was absolutely gorgeous. So
it was fantastic. It was it was great to see old friends, made a lot of new friends.
Yep.
And I think that I don't know. I was trying to think of like some of the more fun things that happened, but there were so many fun things. I did enjoy the workshop. That was a lot of fun. We had some cool stuff. Travis, the redneck, came down from the deep end and brought some really cool items for us all to look at and run some tests on out there. And that was kind of cool. He enjoyed that. And we'll actually be going up there as the collective next weekend.
Yeah. You guys are going to have a blast. I unfortunately won't be able to
there.
make that trip, but you guys are going to have a good time.
Well, we're going to document it just like we document everything else.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and dive into it, because this episode is going to be pretty much all about what we documented.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Unexpected occurrence, right?
unexpected occurrence. When you plan these expeditions, or you plan these um, workshops, in our case, because that's what we call ours, are workshops. We don't host these big elaborate expeditions. We host workshops that are fully set to you to teach you how to do the thing, and then we go do the thing. And this is it was fantastic. We could not have asked for anything better to have taken place, because I unfortunately wasn't with the expeditionary team going out. I was preparing food because, as part of the VIP workshop, it was my job to be back at base camp over top of the campfire, making the campfire and preparing all the food for everybody when they got back, because they're going to have hungry bellies, and just feed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we have purchased a new thermal recently, and we've deployed it in the field a couple times. And you see your standard, you get your normal run-of-the-mill stuff. And we were teaching folks how to use the thermals, how to use infrared, how to use all this various equipment to go out and do field research out in the woods. Well, Ron, since I was out there cooking, I'm sure they don't want to hear how I started the fire.
I don't
So
know. It's very interesting how you started the fire. We actually
yeah,
thought
well,
you may
you're right.
have
I
to
did start the
bang
fire in
two.
absolute pitch black.
Yeah,
Because the
pitch
power went out.
black. And I'll put the whole story into it. So here's what happened. Hellbent Holler came down to do this amazing workshop, and they did an incredible job. Right at the beginning, we went in for a very quick briefing on equipment, safety, what to expect, and how it was going to go. So Jesse and Joe led all of us up onto this path, onto this roadway, where they had prepared these little stations for everyone. And in each one of these stations, there were 3 stations. Each one of these stations, we would stop and we would use some equipment or talk about some equipment, etc. And then let's have hands on. And as you mentioned, of course, we had our, we, as in me, Maria, and Dave Roberts over here at the collective, we had our equipment. So we had the thermal. And we had the thermal, and we had a couple of GoPros, and we were just kind of documenting things and recording. That's all we were doing. And station 1 was fun. The lights did go out. The lights went out at about 8 o'clock for whatever reason. No one knows, but the lights went out.
Well, the official report was that a tree had there's pretty, it's fall in West Virginia. You get a lot of wind.
Yeah.
And there's an old snag that had actually fallen, and I guess part of the branch was hanging in a living tree, and the wind blew in, and it caused the it completed the circuit using the power lines.
Yeah,
But
if you believe that conspiracy theory, that's fine. I'm going to say it was aliens. But so, and you might laugh at that now, but listen, it got weird out there on that trail. So we were out on the trail, and we were at the. I'm going to just skip forward for you and set it up, because we actually do have it recorded, and I'm going to show a little snippet of it on this. I'm actually working on a really good little lengthier documentary, which we'll put out as a standalone, not just a podcast. So we were at the parabolic station. The parabolic station was really cool. They had set up a nice little parabolic dish, and they had the set of headphones you could put on, and you could listen down in the valley to the various night sounds. You know what that means, because we've recorded that a million times.
Yep.
Just a bunch of clicks and, chirps and insects, right? Well, a couple of the people there started hearing what sounded like popping sounds coming from down in the valley. And we had a thermal. And we were the only ones in the area with a thermal. So
because
one with
the
the
thermal station,
was
to give some info here, Hellbent Holler did have all their equipment with them, but it was spread out through the workshop in various stations. And the thermal was actually at the next station up the trail. So Ron was the only thermal on hand.
Yeah, we were the only thermal in hand right there in that particular spot. And man, I wish we had those others down there at that point because we caught some stuff. So I'm just going to do a screen share with this, and we're going to see if it works. It should. And we're going to watch this, and then we're going to talk about it as we're watching it.
And by the effects of movie magic, here we have the
Yeah.
the whole thing. We're all
Yeah.
looking at it.
Yeah. So I'm going to play it, and we're just going to kind of comment over this, okay? And tell me when to pause because this is real time. This is you and me just
And
real
I
time.
haven't. So, guys,
You haven't seen this.
this is my first time seeing
Yeah.
this footage. I wasn't there in the field with him because, again, I was back cooking.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna get to finally see. I've seen the thermal, so I know what that looks like, but I haven't seen any of the lead up.
And you haven't heard any of the lead up, and this is
Yeah.
pretty impressive. So it's a little long, but we're going to play it as it was. Here we go.
Did you hear that?
Can you make out audio there?
Heard? Can you hear that?
Okay, good.
You hear that noise out there?
Always out there.
Is it picking it up? Okay. Yeah. Does anybody want to try it out?
Now he said you can hear the popping, and Jess hasn't really taken it too serious at this point. Just thinks it might be an animal.
And you can point it anyway down through here. Point it down in the valley over here.
And right here, listen to this.
Yeah, because when I was standing over there, I thought I heard something else that way.
And you can point it anyway down through here. Point it down in the valley over here.
So she had heard something too.
But it's just going to amplify whatever you point it at, and it'll get a little residual on the side. It's not precise, but it is much better than nothing.
Now,
Yeah, that's fine.
they had heard stuff, so at this point, I decided I'm going to switch on the device and start looking around.
No, there shouldn't be anybody down there. That's a drop off.
What is that?
Did you hear it?
I had noticed it at that point.
Oh, it's just a red signature.
Should I open another pair of eyes? You're going to hear a little bit of a popping noise as you move it, but just stop it and just let it settle.
What is that? Hey, Jesse,
Go.
come over here.
What is it?
I don't know. Tell me.
What's going on?
What is that?
Something's down there. I don't know. It's on the left side of that tree.
You see it? It's moving.
Well, we're doing thermal next, so we can look down in the valley. Yeah, there's something down in the valley.
Look at that.
What is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's something down there.
It's got a weird shape.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
You guys want to go to the thermal station and see if we can see this? Because it's going to be on the other side of this valley
Pause.
here. So we'll be able to look down in there where...
Take it back a couple seconds. Right there.
There's something down there.
Pause. All right. So, what you are looking at right here is red hot thermal imaging. You see the red mass there. That is a heat signature within the field, and you see that it is well above the ambient temperature there around, and that that mass that you're looking at right now, we paced it out and looked out. This was the next day, so to give you reference on where you're looking,
we actually
you're-
have that, so you'll get to see that.
okay, so you're looking from around 50 yards ballpark from the lens to that object. Now, the resolution on this imager is fan-freaking-tastic. It's one of the best out there in our opinion. A lot of hunters are raving about this thing, and as you can see, the video is actually really good in comparison to some of the other field thermals that are being used out there for the collection of video and whatnot. So first off the bat, we saw this thing kind of do one of these numbers, like this sway and disappeared in the brush. It went behind something that was of the same temperature of the surroundings, and then you couldn't see it. And then it kind of swayed back out, and you can see from this point, you can make out in the red, that's not it. This part right here is kind of I'll call it pareidolia at the moment, because that looks like a head, shoulders, and whatnot, but that's not the head and shoulders you're looking at. That shape. You're looking at mostly the upper body, the torso in that frame. That's what you're seeing. There's a Ron, if you take your mouse cursor, and there's that dark black on the very bottom, next one down, right there. Everything below that is the waist down, right in that area. Okay. So if this subject was wearing clothes of any sort, it would actually appear in the same way that the surrounding brush that you can actually see. It would have that grayscale tones, and the only heat you would be seeing would be coming from face and hands, neck area. All right, so go ahead and hit play again.
Okay.
Because
And we mentioned this. This device was tethered to two phones at this point. Okay, the one I was recording with, and my wife also had hers, I believe, not recording but watching it, monitoring it, and that's how Jessie is watching it. She's watching it as I'm holding my phone, and it's tethered to it, so she's watching it there. And the other video that you see up there is taken by basically a chest mount GoPro. So here we go.
It's a weird shape.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
You guys want to go to the thermal station?
Right
and
there
see
is
if we
head
can
and
see this?
shoulders.
'Cause it's going to be on the other side of this valley here, so we'll be able to look down in there where
Whoa,
he's getting this right.
Whoa. Did you see that?
Are you recording?
Yes, I'm recording.
And here I've stabilized and slowed it a little for us.
Where he's getting this right.
Whoa.
Back off there.
Did you see that?
Too far.
Are you recording?
Yes, I'm recording.
Everybody asked me the same question. Anyway.
you never not record. If you get something hot, you always record. Anybody who's listening, if you have a thermal and you see a hot object, you hit that record button, even if it's just a deer, because it could be one of these.
Well, really, that's what I thought we were looking at, was just going to be a deer. You know, I wanted to get a deer or something on the thermal just to see what it would look like, because they're like, I hear popping down there. And I'm like, okay, that could be a really cool signature. And I saw that. So, you know, so this is the next evening after Wild and Weird Con wrapped up. We tried all day to get up there. And there's actually another part of the video where Eric Altman and Tom Minook, sorry. Tom went up to have a look at this place before we even went up there. And they came back and reported the same thing. It's a steep incline. You get down there, you're going to need some way to get back out. And I had no idea that that's how deep this was. You even heard Jess say that earlier on in the audio part there before we had the sighting that it was really steep down in there. And all right, so that's the tree.
I think it was awful close to you then.
During daylight. And there you go. It's right in that area.
And like I said, we were able to pace it out here. You can see what we're doing. That's Jamie Snell there with me. I'm not sure who's on the camera at this spot, but
that'd be me. I'm filming, I think.
Okay. Go ahead and let this one roll. Let's see where we go.
I mean, this is going.
No, I'm not. That's Maria filming. Sorry.
Like it's booming down.
Oh, this is when we had found the traversal area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can actually see. You can really see it right there. It's just laid down. It kind of just
right in front of me there. What you see is a roughly an 80-degree incline.
Yeah, yeah, and Jess was right. It's literally right down a valley. Now, where we're standing is about where the thermal section was set up. Now, they had 3 thermals up there. They had the psionics, they had AGM, and they had a FLIR. And we should have been able to see what was down in there.
But, given the fact this thing booked it and took off.
I think so, too. Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead and let it roll, because we'll see if it caught my my assessment once I was down at the bottom.
It did not. Ian's right there on that one. We're not going to give everything away. Not right now. That'll be for the extended version. So there's going to be a much longer version of this that will be coming out. I'll be working on it all week because, man, this is amazing. This was something, and you just don't have this kind of stuff happen.
Right. It's especially when you're putting together workshops or events like this.
Mm-hmm.
You do not expect to actually capture the subject that you're looking for. With the workshop in mind, it's great if you catch anything in thermal footage, or if you have any kind of audio at all. It's great to sample and have that.
Yeah.
But the fact that we actually possibly caught footage of our target, that's just something that doesn't happen very often.
No.
Especially when we're organizing just a small little thing to go out into the forest, learn how to use some of this equipment, and then you actually get your target. Now, I did speak with Russ Jones, and he has a very good hypothesis behind why this thing would have been exactly where it was. And
well, let's before you go there, let's talk about what we know it wasn't.
Well, for example,
or do you
we know it wasn't a deer.
Yes.
You can see the legs. This thing's on 2 feet and it's not a bear. You can see the legs clearly. And
back it up there. Yeah, okay.
So you can see the legs very clearly as it steps away and moves. The center mass is the hottest portion, which is why the red hot is keying in there. Now, when it steps away, you can make out where the shoulders and the head's at. If this was a hunter, let's just say that we stumbled out on a hunter. One, it's pitch black. You have a group of people out there. There are no flashlights.
The power was out in the lodge as well.
Power was out in the lodge. There's no ambient light. The moon was actually on the horizon, below the horizon. So there was no moon in the sky to illuminate. When I was cooking, I had the most spectacular view of the stars that you could ask for.
Yeah, the moon came
because
up
there was
as
no
we got
moonlight
back.
polluting the sky either.
It came up as we were out eating your amazing
it came up around
chili
10:30, 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And this subject, if it were a hunter, you are looking at something that would have appeared to have only had a hot mass up top and two hot masses around where its hands are. This subject is not wearing a shirt.
Yeah, I mean, that's what struck me. I'm like, well,
And it was 40 degrees.
Yeah, it's cold. I'm not really sure how cold it was, but it was cold that night.
It got down to 44 degrees because I was concerned whether or not we were going to have enough firewood, which we didn't, and I had to go get more.
Well,
And
that's our fault because it shouldn't have lasted that long, but it kind of turned into a let's find this thing.
yeah,
You know, everybody in the group got excited after this, and this is what we're looking for, and we kept trying to find it, and we even went back as far as, well, let's go back, because I was like, I'm going back down there because I'm going to go back where this target was, and see if I could see anything, but there was nothing there, and they did hear things coming off the opposite side of the hill toward us or above us at one point too. So I'm thinking, kind of now that you told me how close this was to me.
Yeah.
But we did go back the next day, and I didn't see where it did. But I was just wondering, did that thing come up the road, and go up that hill? Maybe that's what they were hearing up on that ridge.
it very well could have been.
Yeah.
Now, based off what I was seeing on the ground, it went deeper into the hollow. Everything that I was able to translate based off of the foliage that was on the ground and the direction that everything was laying down, it moved down and out, and that makes more sense than it going back up, and here's why. So there is a waste plant, not a sewage waste, but a where you take your trash and whatnot, and then waste management will come and collect it in these massive bins, and it's down about I don't know, half a mile from that location. And with the influx of cars, because there were only 2 available rooms the night before Wild and Weird Con in the entire hotel, just 2 rooms left available. Let's just hypothetically think here, and this is what Russ and I were talking about. These things might have caught on to the pattern that when there are a ton of cars on that parking lot, because the way the positioning of the lodge in relation to the other mountains is that it is on a cut off mountain. It's short and shaved off, and the peaks are all above this lodge. So if they were up on the ridgeline, they could visibly see the parking lot. The parking lot is full. That means the dumpsters are going to be full of food and waste that is being tossed out by the visitors to the lodge. This would bring in something for easy food, something that needed high calorie foods during a time of year when high calories are not readily available. Berries are already gone and off. There's some flowering plants still flowering right now, but as far as high calories go, you're only looking at large game animals unless you have a dumpster nearby. It could be that this thing was coming down off the ridge and moving towards that collection site.
Yeah, I could buy that. Yeah. I mean, if we go to the assumption that this wasn't a hunter, and
well, yeah, and now if it was a hunter, I, for one, again, we don't live in Florida. We're in West Virginia. I've never gone hunting bare chested.
Yeah. When it's 40 degrees, I'm sure.
Oh, anytime. But 40 degrees especially.
Yeah, especially. Well, it's also important.
There's these things called ticks. I just I don't want them.
Don't want them. Yeah. So there's, you asked, to get your commentary. Yeah, I got your commentary, and it'll be on the extended version of how hard it was to even get down to that next level. So what had happened was really interesting because you had me go back to the original position to where we had sighted this thing while you tried to get yourself down in the position to where this thing was. And we were losing daylight at that point because we had just went up there to just look down in a valley. We didn't think we were going to find paths and all this stuff. But as we were there doing that, I kept trying to have you, turn your light on because we were trying to locate you. You're up from us around the bend, and I saw it the one time, but then the next time the light wouldn't come on.
Yeah, my phone had died. I didn't charge it the night before,
Hmm.
and so I didn't have any charge on my phone. And I knew it going down in there that I had like 2-3%. And when he asked me to shine my light, I was like, well, here it goes. And so I turned on my light and shined it around, and I knew that once I closed my phone, it was not opening back up again. And so my phone was dead, and he could no longer locate my position because where I was standing, the only way I could remain upright, because again, this incline on the hill is ranging between 80 and 70 degrees. I'm standing against a large old growth black walnut, and I'm standing where the tree comes down like this and it came up out of the ground, so it's got this curve. I'm standing on where the roots are, and I've got my hip against the actual tree holding position. That put me on the opposite side of the tree from where they could actually see me.
Hmm. So I was actually down there with Danner from Conjure Dust, and it was fantastic that that both of these guys wanted to come. Jen came over with us as well with Jamie, and these guys earned their badge as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You guys earned your Wild and Weird badge. That's for freaking sure. Because wow. So Danner's down there with me, and we're trying to locate you, and we just can't find you. And it was at that point when you said, the comps were messing up, or at least on your end. Not on
Yeah.
ours. We couldn't hear anything like that. And a little bit later, I think Danner had said something about he had got a cold chill, like he had static or something. It was weird. And that's when my comm started doing the same thing, that like it was making a call out. I'm like, what in the world, And it got weird. So I'm like, yeah, this is weird, and that's why I called out to you and said, just fall back because something's going on here that just didn't seem right. And with him saying that, and I didn't know that Jen was kind of having issues as well. We also skipped over the fact that you found a footprint.
Yeah, we did find a footprint. Again, I had just literally the day before removed 100 pounds of plaster out of my truck because uh, I never take it out. I always have plaster with me in my truck anywhere we go. The only reason I took it out was because we were carrying some hardware that had some sharp, pointy edges, and I didn't want to spill this high-dollar hydrocal all over the back end of my truck and lose it because this much hydrocal is extremely expensive. And like I said, didn't want to lose it, so I pulled it out and stored it in my garage. So of course I didn't have it with me, and we find a footprint that slid into the mud. Because I didn't have plaster and I was no way I could get it in time to be able to preserve this, we did video document it. I had my fingers all in it because I knew I wasn't going to be casting it. So I was measuring depth. There was a smear or not a smear, but a push in, a slide in, if you will, where this thing stepped in the mud and its foot went at an angle. You had a very, very clear big toe, the separation between the big toe and the next toe, and then the slide in went about 1.5 inches into the mud. And I could slide my finger almost up to my second knuckle underneath the mud because where the gap was created. And it was about an 11-inch track, 11 to 12-inch track, somewhere in that ballpark. Again, I didn't have my gear with me. I didn't anticipate finding a trackway. We were just going to go try to look to see if we could get line of sight on where this target was and get me in position because I wanted to see how big it was in relation to me. But I was able to get an eye on where I'm almost certain this thing was because the way it moves, it was moving on a flat level ground at least for a couple feet. And there was a flat down below me where I was leaning against this tree. It was about 60 feet below me, which would have put me in about a 50-yard range and also be visible to Ron. Because I could see Ron, he just couldn't see me. And if I was down on that flat, he would have seen me just like this creature here. And beyond that flat was a large beech deadfall that was probably about 24 inches in diameter, big tree. And it would provide a little bit of leverage as you're maneuvering downhill, following that finger down into the bottom of that hollow. So my guess is that's the direction it went.
Hmm. Yeah, which would have been pretty much directly toward the lodge. Now that's important as well because after the comms went a little crazy, we decided we were going to leave. Right. So as we're walking out, um, the comms go a little crazy again. Now you didn't hear it, but Danner heard it, and I heard it, and Maria heard it. I'm not sure if Jamie did. I think he was up with you. He's a little too far off, and we notified you, and you're like, "No, I didn't hear that." And then it did it again. Well, as soon as it did it this time, the Geiger counter, because never leave home without one, goes off, and it hit 40, and that was kind of interesting because our background was no more than 21, I believe, is what it was up there. So
It got up to 30 whenever I had it down in the
you got
bottom.
to 34, is what you were
Yeah,
at.
because I had it on me when I went
Yeah,
down into that
yeah.
that
It shouldn't
ravine
have,
there.
but it shouldn't have did that. That's the whole point. It did one of those weird things again that we have shown that have happened in these odd places, like we got with Cranberry, for example, when we were up there. Um, but this was a spike. This wasn't a constant. This was it went to 40 when that thing went off. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute now. Um, and I know what everybody's thinking. Oh, well, that's just radio. Well, no, no. Radios don't give off, you know, gamma and beta radiation. If they do, we probably should stop using uh,
Right.
communicators right now. But no, it's not dangerous. It's just the fact that it went twice, a little bit above twice background, and we were continuing to go out. And then as we got out into the parking lot area, or close to the parking lot area, we were just getting some B-roll.
Yeah, I
Nice,
wanted to play with the thermal.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
out there. We got a pretty sky.
Incredible landscape.
Yep.
Yeah,
So we just wanted to collect some B-roll thermal showing what that ravine looked like, just cause it's neat looking. So I put it on the Fusion collar palette, which is uh, AKA Predator Vision, if you've ever watched those movies. Um, and I was just shooting some B-roll, and I thought, hey, you know what? The sky's really clear. I'm going to go ahead and just look up and pan to the stars. That's all I was doing. I was going to pan to the
mm-hmm,
stars and
yeah,
fade it out and then hand it up and like just shut her down.
yeah. And then you went
And
into
then
white. You went to white hot, I believe, is what you were in
I
when
did
we.
because I saw
Yeah,
something and then went to white
you
hot.
saw something. Yes.
Because here's the thing with these thermal imagers. Fusion, cool. It looks neat. It's great for TV. It gives great effects because everything just looks color painted. The white hot and black hot, those are going to give you your best contrast results. They're going to give you your best definition and detail of the subjects you're actually viewing. So I turned up and I saw this blip moving and I went, nope, clip, and jumped straight into the next mode so that way I could have it in white hot.
Yeah. And I was watching it there on the tether as you did this. And as soon as it came into frame, it's like, oh, this is what a plane looks like. So I hit record. And there's the tracking.
And this thing's booking it. You can see it. It's scooting down the horizon. It's above the cloud bank. It's moving behind the clouds.
Now, what's important about this clip, because some would argue, oh, that's a bug or that's a bird or whatever you. If you watch this, it's big and it gets smaller, which is exactly what you would expect from something that's moving away almost straight out toward the horizon.
Yep.
So you can watch that again. Take it back. Oh, too far. There we go. Right here. And I'm not very stable, but you can see there's no flapping. There's no undulation going on with this thing. It's just pretty much straight on. And if that's a bird, that bird is really booking it. Let's just put it that way.
And it wasn't visible to the naked eye because we
Oh,
still
no,
had
that's
some
important.
light at this.
That's important. Yeah, we all how many of us was there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
there's
6. 6 people couldn't see it. So, and that's interesting, very interesting. But what else did you find, Joe?
Well, this one I believe
Yep.
makes the J move.
Nope. The one that comes under it. Watch this. This is impressive. Yep, that happened.
Oh yeah, it just pops out of nowhere. That's
Yeah,
right.
and look at those maneuvers.
I didn't know which frame we were viewing because there were like 3 different recordings.
There's like 4 or 5 different frames, and this thing is going in some pretty odd behavior. Let's just put it that way. It's doing some odd behavior. So we have other footage here. Let me pull that up. So, and this is the other clip that we got of another object, and we'll go ahead and play that.
You can see the bugs. Actually, there are
Yeah,
insects.
you
that
can see the bugs. Yes,
that move around, and they carry a completely different signature.
Mm-hmm. They also have different flight movement, but that's not a bug.
That U-turn right there.
Right. So what are we looking at? That's the big question. That is the number one question.
And then right into the clouds.
I have no idea what we're looking at here. This is that's a bug. Did you see the bug at the bottom? Yep, looped around. I just don't know. I don't know what we're seeing there. Planes don't move like that. I can say that.
Just wait, it gets better.
It's I think we did a 4x zoom on it there.
No, it zoomed in twice, so that would.
Okay, there we go. There's 2x.
Now we're back into native.
There's 2x. So this thing's just literally yep, there's another one. And now I'm changing the contrast. And you're going to see what happens when I change the contrast down just a touch here. Those are clouds. Still giving off a little heat from the. There we go. Here's our next. And there they are. That is moving, my friend.
Yeah, that's booking it.
I mean, that thing is moving. I don't even know the speed. But look at this. There are other things there as well. There's one. And you can actually see the acquisition is heat. See, zeroing in on those heat sources. I have no idea what we are looking at.
Then you saw that one just dart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
yeah, we have no idea what this is.
Yeah,
we have actually been for the last 24 hours looking at dozens of thermal imaging videos.
There. Even that night, we tried to find bugs or something flying around.
Yeah,
that
and we did find bugs. We found large bugs.
And you're going to see a couple here if you look around the light.
Now this is contrast boosted.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple there. There you go. Right in there.
See how faint and almost transparent they appear?
Well, look at the movement as well.
And yeah, there is a much more erratic movement, but you can see the flitter.
Mm-hmm. You can see the flitter.
You can see the oscillation of the wings movement. Those objects that we were viewing were spheres.
Yeah, there you go.
That's another bug.
Yep.
And tonight, at the same time that we were recording this, I went outside and I did everything I could
to try to
replicate that. And the only thing that showed up as clear and as crisp as what those were stars. Now the stars weren't moving.
Well, that's a good thing.
but that was the only thing that was showing up as crisp. There were some insects, but it was just like what you literally just watched. You could see the really erratic movement where they'll just fly in circles and then dart in a direction. Nothing as smooth as what we had recorded here. Then the birds, I did catch some robins, because where I live right on the edge of a forest, and I've got about probably 10 robins or so that nest and back behind my house. So robins are night birds, in case anybody didn't know that. They'll sing way into the darkness, and they like being out at night. So I observed some robins while they were out flying around, and guess what they look like? Birds. Because their wings, when you're looking at a bird signature on thermal, and what we're going to do is we'll actually take a photo of what a bird looks like in a thermal imager, and we'll insert that here so you can see it. You can actually see the wings.
It looks
really
like a
well.
bird. It looks like a bird.
It looks like a bird. And it's because birds are extremely warm creatures. They stay warm. They have heat pockets in their feathers. They'll tuft up and they'll hold heat to their body. So they show up very, very well and very defined on a thermal.
Yeah,
and you can see wings flap.
Yeah, you can definitely see the wings flap, and there's a little bit of a difference to their flight pattern in general too, right? So
Yeah.
What we had seen were things that were just moving extremely fast, and they seem to be high altitude. I don't know. I have no idea what those were. Feel free to let us know if you know what those were, or if you think you know what those were. But what we can tell you is, honestly, we know it's not a satellite.
Yep.
If that's a satellite, there's no satellites that are moving that fast. They don't do that. I don't know of anything that makes, J-hook turns and figure S's, and it fits the category of a UAP. I'll just go ahead and say it. But here's the thing, Joe. We weren't looking for UAPs. We weren't looking for UFOs.
We weren't, but that's generally when you're going to find them. It's generally when you're going to find anything, is when you're not actively looking for it. You just happen upon it. And there's tons and tons of research data that points that direction. Also, with what we have learned recently, about what the government has leaked out with UFOs, these sightings take place all the time. These recordings on thermal imaging take place quite regularly. And this is why the government sees it as such a threat. We have no idea. We can't visibly see it. There was no light being generated from these things. They only showed up because they were producing heat. That's the only reason they showed up. And that's the only thing that gave them away. You know, they weren't visible to the naked eye. They were only visible using sensitive equipment. And if we can't see it, we can't detect it, can't hear it, it makes sense why they view it as a threat.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the perfect stealth object. I mean, stealth vehicle or whatever, whether it be, ET or some foreign power, which I don't buy that at all at this point. I think that it's just the most amazing, stealth technology that you could have. And well, I tell you, man, I don't know. I really don't know what we had going on there, but I do know that those guys who went out with us, they got a handful. They really got a handful.
They really did.
And it was incredible. But also, remember now.
Sorry.
Because when we went back as we were coming back out, you remember we ran into Jess and Joe and Dewey, and they said they had heard wood knocks.
Yep.
In the valley.
And which was the opposite finger from where we were. We were facing the completely different direction. We wouldn't have heard them.
No. Well, I mean, we were up there pretty excited too. We were probably talking too much to hear wood knocks.
I know.
Away from us. Yeah, absolutely. But it was just interesting, man. And that these guys got to, witness that and experience it, man. That's what it's all about.
Yep. It was intense. It was really cool. And I'm glad that everybody got to experience what it's like to really be out in the field and collect real data, because you guys actually collected real data while you were on the workshop, like real significant data that is going to be used for future use. Now, to answer, which is probably what everybody in the audience is listening thinking, do we think these things are related? Is there any kind of connection? There was 24 hours time difference. It is possible, but I'm not sure. I can't point one way or the other to say yes or no. What you guys observed the night prior seemed to be a very normal thing. The mass figure and everything seemed to be what you would expect from a possible Bigfoot. The movement, the stature, all of that. And then the next night we were out, we were collecting data, just something completely unrelated to, at least in our mind, to what we were working on. And I aimed the thermal at the sky because why not? And we wound up going in a different direction with this stuff. There's so much going on out there around us all the time that we are just simply unaware of. Not everybody has a thermal on their hip walking around. Not everybody has infrared night vision walking around. Geiger counters, tri-field meters. The weirdos do. us who are out here investigating these things, we have them on us frequently, but still not all the time. How much do we miss because we're just out here, looking for mushrooms, or we're out here going and our focus is to, just unwind. We're not thinking about data collection, and we're missing what?
Yeah. Well,
how much are we?
Our best evidence has come from moments of just that. Not looking. Never looking. We just go and it's there, and we just happen to have the equipment to catch it.
Yeah.
We're just lucky enough to have that equipment. And I mean, I encourage people, if they want to go out and really start doing this, we've talked about this at the workshop. You can make your own stuff. You don't have to go out and, Lord knows, we couldn't just go out and buy, these expensive pieces of equipment. This has been years and years and years and years of gathering these pieces of equipment. And, that's just from community support of late too, and which is amazing. And God, Mothman was so good to us, but, that's the whole point. But our idea is, we're going to give that back, obviously, because, you guys are going to get to come out on some really cool, workshops, and you're going to get to use some of this stuff and actually, who knows? I mean, we proved it could happen. You may actually see something. Who even knows? But,
and especially in some of the areas that we're going to be taking you on these workshops, we're not taking you just to places that have no history. Our workshops, we make sure that when we do a workshop, we do it in one of our active research areas that we have collected data in, be it Bigfoot, be it paranormal, be it UFO. We have collected data that we are teaching you how to collect in that spot. And, that's an experience all to itself. We're sharing, we're not there. There's only a select few areas that we keep under lock and key that we don't. Wineberry is one of those. And, we'll tell you the general county and where it's at, but we're not giving out where it's from. We won't until we mine everything that we can from that location. We're going to keep it that way.
Well, the owner wishes it that way as well.
Yeah, the owner wishes.
We always go by what the owner wishes or the witness wishes.
And there's a few areas that they'll just never be disclosed. They'll be just our private research areas. And but we will take you to locations where we have collected data, solid, good data, where we have receipts, not just that we've gone out there and had experiences, but we have receipts to show that we collected the data, that we can prove we were there doing the thing and got the thing.
Well, we got the thing this time. Whatever it is, I don't know. I know that here's one of the greatest things about having it at this happen where it happened. It happened in a place where we had gathered together researchers and enthusiasts, all of which basically came to see that footage the next day.
Yeah.
Some went out on their own to look and see the terrain, the territory, and validate the fact that there's no way anyone got over that hill. If not in the pitch dark, it's not going to happen. Others looked at it and said, "Yeah, that's amazing footage." They didn't think it was a hunter. They didn't think it was a deer. They didn't think it was a bear. I mean, not just one researcher and not just researchers. I mean, seasoned researchers,
Yeah,
veteran
veterans.
researchers, and that was significant to me. If it would, if it was going to happen, it couldn't happen at a better place. And it just makes me happy because our whole goal for Wild and Weird Con was always for it was UFO, cryptids, and paranormal. And man,
Yeah.
we got it. It's just the strangest thing. I don't even know, but I feel absolutely blessed by this past weekend with the people and the experience, and it was
Yeah.
something for everyone to take home. And I really, really, really am glad that we could do that.
Yeah, it's a unique it's a unique thing that we've had the opportunity to create.
Mhm.
And we don't take that for granted, guys. It is something that's very special to us. It's very near and dear to what we do. We put in blood, sweat, and tears, literally, into these productions that we host, and it takes a lot. It takes a toll on us. It is a hefty toll on us, physically, mentally, emotionally, to put on what we do, and it is, like Ron said, a blessing that we're able to do this and provide this for other people, because we could sit and we could soak up everything and keep it all to ourselves. We very much could. We could sit and we could gatekeep, and we could hold all these things as our own, but we turn it around and we share it with everyone. Anybody who wants to come to the table is welcome. Anybody who wants to join us in the field is welcome. Anybody who wants to come and share and be seen and be heard is welcome. And we're thankful that we get that opportunity, not just at Wild and Weird Con, but week in and week out. That's what we get to do.
It's true, right? And it's just an amazing legacy, and I'm happy to do it. I'm so
Yeah.
happy to do it. Before we sign off, I want to mention that right before Wild and Weird Con, you talk about a toll.
Yeah.
I don't think people know we have had. I mean, we've been working nonstop.
It's been like a freight train, constantly feeding coal
Yeah.
into the engine.
It really has. From making stuff from Mothman to all this. A day before we had to leave for Wild and Weird Con,
Yeah.
we actually had to be at an elementary school.
Yeah.
And we paid a visit back to Sherman Elementary and met our good friends there. And we got to talk to a whole new generation of researchers and enthusiasts who are learning, so much so that they actually had the Mothman as one of their scarecrows.
They did. It was great.
And when we did the poll this year and said, how many of you guys have heard of the Flatwoods Monster or the Mothman? More people responded.
Yeah.
More kids responded. They know now. And that is what we're doing. Before I get serious with it, I want to just give a shout out to Jack. Jack was there again, and he's one of our biggest fans, I think.
Oh yeah, Jack's our boy.
Yeah.
He is going to be a future member of the collective.
He is going to be in the field with us as soon as
Yep.
he's old enough. That is a fact. And,
Well, he's actually supposed to be coming to the next Bigfoot workshop, so he's going to be in the
I
field with
can't
us
wait.
soon.
Jack, I cannot wait to
So,
get you in the field and
yeah.
get you behind some of this equipment. Another good friend and future artist that I'd like to mention. I'd like to take time to
Yeah.
mention, and she may not even hear it. But Jack, make sure that Gracie knows that her rock is going to be going to every Wild and Weird show this coming year. And if that rock sells by any means, yeah, she will benefit from it. So
And Gracie is a absolute spitfire, y'all. Like, she is on it. She's hilarious.
so Gracie, your rock is coming on tour, and we will be in touch next year. As for the rest of Sherman, we want to thank you guys for letting us come out and do what we do.
Yeah.
That's always a fantastic time for us. It doesn't even matter if we bend. We just like to come out and tell the stories and get those kids interested. And boy, they had a blast using that thermal.
Yeah, they did.
So that's pretty much all I've got for us this week. What do you have anything else, Joe? What we got coming up? Anything?
Well, by the time you listen to this, I'm actually going to be at Winfield High School tomorrow. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to be there all day and sharing stories with them and just having a big time. Then we've got Cryptid Con. That's the next big thing on our radar, where we're going to be able to be out there where you guys can come meet us and see us. We have a collective investigation coming up this Saturday. You and Dave will be out at the Deep End Antique Store doing an investigation. That's going to be awesome. So you guys need to, again, go mash that notification bell, because that's going to be when you will get your out of the ordinary report that will show up that you'll be able to go watch. Same thing with this video from the thermal footage. You definitely want to make sure your notifications are on and that you are subscribed, so that way you're alerted whenever this video comes up and you get to watch the full thing all together with all the commentary.
And for those who's always asking, where's your YouTube channel? Where's your YouTube channel? It's in the link in the comments of this episode.
Yeah,
all you gotta do is
just jump on there.
Yeah, just click that and subscribe. It's free, and watch, enjoy, and let us know, for goodness sakes, what you think that stuff is. It's still off in peer review on some other people's stuff, and we would never review. First of all, you know us, we don't show this stuff unless we think that there's a really good chance that it's worth being seen. And when we have 5 or 6 researchers who say it's worth being seen, that's good enough.
It really is. That was our peer review. We had our peers there, and they reviewed it, and they were veteran researchers, and they said yes. So we went out and we're sharing it with you guys immediately, because that's really, honestly, it needed to get out there quickly. So Cryptid Con, you guys come out, catch us at Cryptid Con. We're going to have the Wild and Weird Radio with us on the road. So you'll be able to come up and hang out, talk to us, all that good stuff. That is the radio that you see behind Ron right there. We're going to have that bad boy with us. And you can just join us right there on the spot, impromptu. Let's do it. And it's going to be a great time. And in the meantime, you can always find us. If you're looking, like Ron said, you can find the link. But if you're looking on YouTube, it is Wild and Weird WV. Type that in your search engine. You're going to see probably Wineberry or one of the UFO videos show up first. Just click on the link there. It'll take you straight to our page. And then you can subscribe, hit that notification bell, keep everything in the loop. And then if you're listening audio only, then you can go and find us anywhere the podcasts are found, literally. You can set right now and say, Alexa, play Wild and Weird Radio. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to get us playing through your home entertainment system. Now, with all that said, if you have a sighting report, go to wildandweirdwv.com. You can hit the contact us or report a sighting tab, and it will send you directly to our Report a Sighting form. You can fill out all the data there, and if it is fresh enough and within driving range, we will be there as soon as we can. If not, we will add it to the data pool and just make it another stepping stone towards finding the truth. If you want to reach out to be on the show, you can get a hold of us at wildandweirdwv@gmail.com. Then just tell us your story. We'll have you on the air. Let us know what's going on ahead of time, and we'll try to schedule you in. We'll flex our own schedules around, so that way we can get a snippet of you on the show with us. Leave some likes, shares, and reviews. Comment down below this video. Stay in touch with us as much as you can. And remember, this week, Men in Black are still listening. And they're our #1 listeners. Again, guys, we need your help. Stay wild and weird, everybody.
After this episode, it's going to be a constant.